Okay, and welcome to our similar polygons review. Now this is actually number 11 from the Google form, and I just want to show this because I thought this was a fantastic example. Now notice some things. Here we have an expression, an actual number, an expression. Here we have an actual number, an expression, and an expression. If you're ever going to solve these similar polygons, you're always going to look for your actual numbers first on corresponding sides. We know that B prime, C prime corresponds to BC, okay? And since they correspond, we can divide these two things and get our scale factor. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead here. We can get our scale factor. Here, let me just make sure that's nice and neat. 10 divided by 5, which is 2. So that's our scale factor. It's 2. Now the next thing we have to do is we have to set up the expressions to their corresponding sides. Notice, I'll do this in purple, AB corresponds to A prime B prime. Is there any sort of expression there? No, so we can't use that to find our missing side. Notice, let's use this nice green color, that AD corresponds to A prime D prime. Well, there's no expression there, so we can't use that one. The only place that we can use our corresponding expressions are on CD and C prime D prime. Now notice, it is not true to say that CD is congruent to C prime D prime. That is a false statement. It's only made true when we actually multiply CD, our original shape, by our scale factor of 2. Now once we do that, this becomes a very easy problem. We know that CD is 3x plus 4, and we'll set that equal to C prime D prime 7x minus 2. And remember, we can only set them equal when multiplying by our scale factor. Now from here, what would this look like? Well, 2 times 3x is 6x, 2 times 4 is 8, and 6x plus 8 is equal to 7x minus 2. Now, from there, we would subtract our smaller x minus 6x, and of course we get 8 is equal to 7 minus 6 is 1x minus 2. We add the 2 to both sides, and 8 plus 2 is 10. So we know x equals 10. Is that the answer? And guys, this is where a lot of y'all really get tripped up. Y'all find x and then y'all completely stopped. But look, this says find C prime D prime. Well guys, we want to go ahead and utilize this expression of 7x minus 2, where we know our x term is 10. 7 times 10 is 70 minus 2, 68. That is the answer. C prime D prime is equal to 68 inches. Okay, let's go ahead and do one more example. Okay, here we have example 2. Now notice, you might be asking yourself, hey, how do I know that these triangles are similar? And if you watched our previous 2 video, you should be noticing these 2 sets of arrows. What is that telling us? Well, of course, that's telling us AD is parallel to CB. Now guys, what's so special about those being parallel? It means that this angle is actually an alternate interior angle to that angle, and it means that this angle is an alternate interior angle to this angle. So if we know that, and we have 2 sets of angles that are, 2 sets of corresponding angles that are congruent, we know that by the angle-angle similarity postulate, well, we know that triangle ADE must be similar to triangle, let's see, BCE. And of course, I'm taking pains here to make sure that I'm putting these in the correct order. All right, BCE. Let's make that B just a little bit more like a B. Okay. Now from here, y'all know this, we want to take our corresponding sides. So I know that AD must be corresponding to BC if we wrote those letters in the correct order. Or we could say this, AD divided by BC will give us our scale factor of 12 over 7. Now remember, I would actually prefer that you always write this as a decimal. And 12 over 7 is kind of a sloppy number. Let's see what it is. Okay, so that's going to be a scale factor of 1.71. Now, in order for us to take these 2 expressions and for us to solve for x, we know that we can't necessarily do EC is congruent to DE. We can't do that. We can only do this once we multiply our smaller side by our scale factor of 1.71. And now we can create a true expression. So we can do 1.71 times our smaller side, 2x plus 16, is equal to 12x plus 8. Now, one thing that I want to make abundantly clear for you, just so you're not confused, this number is larger than 1. That means if we multiply anything by it, it can only get larger. Since this is the smaller side and this is the larger side, you can only make this a true statement by multiplying the smaller side by this number greater than 1. Okay, let's go ahead and begin solving this out. Since we have some tricky decimals here, 1.71 times 2 will give us 3.42, and you'll probably have to use a calculator all through this. 1.71 times 16 will be plus 27.36 is equal to 12x plus 8. Now from here, guys, we know we always want to move our x's first. For those of you who are still getting hung up on the algebra, it's because you're not moving your smaller x first. So minus 3.42x minus 3.42x, and from here we know that 12 minus 3.42 will give us 8.58. 8.58x plus 8. Now I'm going to have to kind of write this a little weird since I ran out of room. Let's do minus 8. And if I'm subtracting 8 from the right, well, of course I have to subtract 8 from the left. And what is 27.36 minus 8? Well, of course, this will give us, bring it on up here, this will give us 19.36 is equal to 8.58x. From here, guys, y'all know this. To get x by itself, we'll just divide both sides by 8.58. And going back to our calculator, 19.36 divided by 8.58 will give us x equals 2.26. Now, I didn't specify in this example what I want y'all to find, so let's do this. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to clean up the space below. I want you to finish taking notes. And then we're actually going to solve for the entire length of DC. We're going to find out what is the whole length of DC. Okay, so we said we want to find out what DC is. Well, guys, notice that DC is the whole, and it must be equal to the part, DE, plus the other part, EC. So if I'm trying to find this whole length of DC, what I'm going to do is this. I'll actually take my two expressions, 12x plus 8, plus 2x plus 16, and I'm simply going to combine those together. So I'd say, you know, DC must equal 12x plus 2x. Let me kind of erase this little line that came out of nowhere. 12x plus 2x is 14x, and 8 plus 16 is 24. And now I have enough information to know that DC is 14x plus 24, where my x value is this 2.26. Well, now this is actually pretty easy to go ahead and finish out. Okay, so just grabbing my calculator, I know that 14 times 2.26 is 31.64 plus 24. Well, let me just go ahead and write that out. 31.64 plus 24. And we can say this. DC is equal to 55.64. Alright, guys, I hope this helps, and I'll see y'all in our next video.